Welcome to New Mexico Restaurants Now, where we get you the inside scoop on the food scene across New Mexico. This episode is brought to you by NMRA's Chef Table sponsors. These businesses provide the most generous level of support to help keep our restaurants protected, informed, and successful. So thank you to Benny Keith Foods, the Food Industry Self-Insurance Fund, Heartland Payment Systems, Shamrock Foods, Cisco New Mexico, and U.S. Foods. We wouldn't be here without you. I'm Carol White, CEO of the New Mexico Restaurant Association, and our guest today is Robert Vick of Vick's Vittles Country Kitchen, and he also has the contract for the Kirtland Air Force Base Thunderbird Dining Facility. And Robert, it's great to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Carol.
I just, I want to start out because I met you at the Thunderbird Dining Facility. You were competing in a not just nationwide, but international competition at the Air Force Base for your dining facility. And that year you got a Gold Plate Hennessy Award. Tell us a little bit about that and, how you got started in the restaurant industry from the beginning.
Well, I started, young. My parents were restaurateurs. Started with a Gaslight Hotel and Restaurant downtown at 601 Central. I was only 6 years old back then, running around busting tables and trying to help my parents out. And so I started off that way. I kind of grew up in my blood. And then I moved on. And when I turned 19, I had a major accident. I was in food service for a long time, but had an accident and lost my sight, and I was paralysis and had to go through a bunch of rehabilitation. And then when I got through that, I turned around and got to where I was, got involved with the food service again. And so I ran contracts in New Mexico Commission for the Blind, and that's how I got involved with Kirtland Air Force Base. And so the Gold Plate Award, I found out when I took on the contract that they have all these competitions, and I said, man, that's what I want to make sure that we win those competitions for our troops. And that's how we got into it. In the 20 years I've been there, I've won 10 Gold Plate Awards, and we've won 3 Hennessy Awards. So we won it in 2005, 2009, and 2011, and that is the best food service operation in the world in the Air Force.
That's amazing. And I just have to say, I've been so impressed. I've been to the facility a couple of times at your invitation, and the innovation, the things that you do, and you were doing them, prior to COVID. And just one thing that stands out to me is above every sink is, a video, and people can watch this video, how to wash your hands, right? And
Right.
sometimes, the written word doesn't always sink into people. And so you had those videos up there, and there's other training videos that you were doing. I mean, and it just goes so far beyond that, some of your inventory, innovations, everything that you're doing is just amazing. And then you took that into the private sector, and you have a restaurant now called Vick's Vittles. It's very near my home, so we come a lot, and me and my husband are always there. And it's just great food, and it's great comfort food. So tell us a little bit about Vick's Vittles.
Well, in 2011 was the last time that we had competed for a while with Air Force Material Command, and so I was getting kind of bored. I wanted to do something else, and I've always been so busy, and I couldn't ever open my own restaurant, and that was my dream to do that. And I wanted to get into more fine dining, but I knew in Albuquerque we need more family style. That's what we could really do. And so I found a place just off base, and wanted to grab some mileage off of all our competitions. The people kind of knew me, and we started Vick's Vittles Country Kitchen. So we're a country restaurant with a New Mexican flair. So we try to do everything we can from scratch. Our burgers are cooked on hickory smoked wood. All our burgers and our chicken breasts, all our regular meats that we do is cooked on that. So we can't do it real fast like you would on a flat top. It takes a little longer, but they come out really juicy, and you got that flavor. We have, we got a shepherd's pie. I had to come up with a chicken version of that, so I came up with the rooster pie, and it's used as our green chili cream gravy that we're known for. And so I just tried to come up with as many food ideas at a reasonable price for people to be able to come in as often as possible. And a lot of our clientele we see 4 or 5 times a week. And we get a lot of retirees that come through us that have known us from the base, and they come in and they know that we're going to take care of them, and it's a safe place. We have a lot of our first responders that eat with us. Same thing. I'm a big supporter of our police department and all our Air Force and military personnel and what they do. And so we love taking care of them because they do so much for us. And so with that motivation, we try to come up with many items in our food palette. We're mostly a breakfast place. So we have our Santa Fe pancakes, which is a blue corn buttermilk pancake with pinon, green chili, and then toasted on top is cheddar cheese and a blue corn buttermilk batter, and it's so good. And we give out samples of those because people look to send it and say, "What, green chili in my pancakes? I don't know if I want that." But after they try it, they fall in love with it, and it's really good. We've actually won awards for that.
Amazing. You know what? As many times as I've been in there, I never even saw it on the menu. Your menu is large, though. I do have
Yes,
to say, you know, yeah,
yes,
I don't get very far past your Cobb salad, but
yeah. It's 21 pages long,
yeah,
and where everybody else has been reducing their menu to stay competitive and make it easier on the staff. We've done everything we can to try to keep our menu the same, because that's what they know us for. And when we start taking things off the menu, then when you get people in, they're like, "Oh no, I came for that," and they get upset. So we try to do everything we can to keep the full menu going, and so it is a very large menu.
it is. Yes. So that's the food. Now your location. If we're getting somebody there that's never been there before, you're right on Route 66,
Yes,
which is, you know, I mean, famous for what it is. And
right.
so tell us where you are.
We're at eight. We're at 80. Oh, sorry, I had a little brain. So we're at 8810 Central Southeast, and we're just off the corner of Wyoming and Central. We're just about 100 feet from the corner there, east on the south side of the street, and you can't miss it. The big Vick's Vittles emblem that's up there, and we've expanded in the time. We've invested in our neighborhood, trying to clean it up and make it really nice, and so we have a big patio area now on one side with a drive-up window. I never thought in my wildest dreams that a family style restaurant like mine would have a drive-up window, and now we have a drive-up window. And we also bought the building next door to us, and we cleaned up that whole area, and that's going to be an event center, which I planned before COVID started. And then COVID hit right when we're in the middle of construction. We just stopped because there is no events really going on too much. So now we're getting that going again. So we have that whole little area there, and it's a kind of a green building with the signs on it, says Vicksville's Country Kitchen on it. You just can't miss this when you come through.
It's true. Yes, you can't miss you. And I was there for, you know, when you started the patio,
Mhm.
and you didn't just put a unpermanent tent out there. I mean, you
Right.
really built out your patio. It's beautiful.
Yes.
And so how has the drive up worked? I mean, has that been successful this year?
Well, last year, or when COVID was full fledged, in the summertime, without it, we would have been out of business. It really saved a lot, and it made it easy for people. We did curbside, but then the drive-up window just added another convenience for them to be able to order and order online or order at the window and then come in and get it. Um, so the drive-up window has been even today, it's probably 20% of our business now. Before COVID happened, we had about 3% of our food would be takeout. Now it's more like 20, 25%. So we've noticed that those customers that still do that are still doing it today, and which was another challenge in itself because we're not a fast food restaurant. So we had to try to come up with some items that we could do quicker for them, and we have that on our menu board out there for items that they can get quick, and then we have our the website for them to go if they want to order everything that's on the menu, and they can still do that. And they go to a parking place, and then we call them and say, okay, you can come through the window now, and then they come and they get to their food.
Well, I just have to say, I think you're one of, you know, I didn't worry about you too much throughout COVID just because
Mhm.
I do know you're capable of pivoting and figuring it out and you know, accessing the technology that you need to do things. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm really proud of you if you don't know
Oh, thank you. Oh no, I appreciate it. I tell you, it was, without my team, we couldn't have done it. I mean, I have the most awesome team. And the like when you're talking about the patio, we put that patio in 5 weeks. A real patio. I mean, we didn't have a patio; it was just a dirt lot behind us, and we put in the doorway and the windows to serve. And at the time, everyone was busy. They said it was going to take me 3 or 4 months to get it, and I was like, "Oh, great! Well, put me on the cancellation." Within 2 or 3 days, people were saying, "Okay, we're canceled. We can come do the concrete. We can do this fencing. We can do," and I got it all done in 5 weeks. And it was a big endeavor. It was a lot of work, but it really paid off. And last summer, that's all we used was the patio. Now, unfortunately, we don't have enough staff. We're not using the patio as much, except for big events, groups that would come in, and then we can set up the patio and just have our staff take care of them out there. But right now, mostly people prefer the air conditioning, refrigerated air inside. So,
that. Yes, I know I prefer that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Air Force Base. I mean, what did you
Mhm.
learn there that really has helped you in the restaurant, you know, in your private restaurant?
Well, actually, what was really different for me is when I took on the contract with the Air Force. It's a totally different concept than restaurants, and I was more restaurant savvy than I was a food service contract like this. And so I had to learn their way of doing things. And one of the things that their number one thing is taking care of their airmen, and they use nothing but quality ingredients. That's the very first thing you have to have. It's all about portion control and really watching, standardized recipes to make sure you have the calorie counts right, because they're really big on making sure that everyone can get, or they can look at their menu card and see exactly what the nutrients that they're getting and the calories count, fat content, and salt. So I learned, I mean, that was a big thing. So I had to do that right away. I learned how to do that and being able to manage people, because it's a different menu every day. So in a restaurant, you have the same menu and people can have their favorite thing. When you do a different menu every day, you have a lot larger inventory, and you have to get very creative on what you can do, because we have to stay plus or minus 3%. We can't make 3% more than 3% profit, and we can't lose more than 3%. So it's a really, and there's no wiggle room in there. So we had to be really cautious on how we do things. So we had to get into like chamber vacuum systems. I had to come up with that. We used blast chillers, things like that, to be able to cook food, blast chill it down right away, be able to use it for 2 different meals, so that we can bring it back up to temperature. Being able to be able to make food that's going to say like uh, uh, the the carrots and the onions and the bell peppers that we chop up, and you get bushels, cases of those in, and we'd have to uh, prep those, and then we'd seal them down, and they last a lot longer, like 21 days that way, and it cuts down on our labor. Motivating 50 people, I got 50 employees out there that we have to keep motivated, and so I learned a lot about when you have that many people that you have to have. That's where I learned the biggest thing about training. And so we had to do video training on everything. So we did a lot of video training, so that everybody is gets the same information. So whether you're on the midnight shift or the morning shift, when you watch that video, you're getting the same information, the same training. So everyone's trained the same. So that's how we got in. We have like 70 different videos on every piece of equipment and procedures on how to do things, and they all go through that training.
So
Certifications.
do you take a lot of that into the restaurant?
Well, the restaurant it's different equipment. So a lot of our training is about equipment. So we have different equipment at the restaurant, even higher tech than what I'm using at the base. So I mean, we still use combi ovens at both locations, but we use broasters, which are pressure fryers. We don't have that at the base. I have smokers, and we have the char broilers that will cook on wood. They're pellet stoves, and so we use those. And so a little bit different equipment. So and and I only have 17 employees, and we have 5 cooks. And so the training's a little bit different. There, we have taken it there, yes. And I do have a screen set up, and just like I do at the base, we have 6 screens in the kitchen, all over. It's a large, huge kitchen. I have one screen at the restaurant, and it's playing the things about motivating and what to do and what not to do, and make sure you're watching this, and things aren't getting cleaned right here, so make sure you're doing this. And so I make these little 10-minute, 15-minute clips for them for that. I'm sorry, 15-second to 30-second commercials that go through and give them that information for the day. Um, then when I walk back there, they get so tired of it playing, and they'll turn the volume down. So then when I walk in there, I have to turn it back up for them to make sure that they're listening to it. But
Yeah.
like I said, I have a wonderful team, and so we use all the refrigeration temperature systems. We have that at both locations. I started at Kirtland Air Force Base, and then I moved it to the restaurant. So we know what the temperatures are every single restaurant at all times.
Wow.
It's great for HACCP.
Hmm.
Um, so
So
we're
I have to tell you,
mhm.
Wally and I, we didn't know what broasted was,
Uh-huh.
right? Because you talk about that on your menu,
Yep.
and we're trying to figure that out. So talk about the broasting
Okay.
because I'd never heard the word before, and well,
Yes.
I kind of had, and then
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. So
It
talk
well,
about that.
okay. It's really big back east, and it's actually it's the equipment. It's a form of cooking that's actually trademarked by Broaster Company. They make the special pressure fryer. It's a round fryer, and it has the lid on it, and it cooks under 15 pounds of pressure. And cooking, when you cook under pressure like that, the moisture of the product forms a barrier around it. And when you're cooking it that way, so it cooks in half the time that it does if you're cooking in an open fryer, and it kind of protects it. It seals in. It's like sears it like you would if you're searing a steak on a stove. It sears the food so the oil doesn't penetrate it. Because it doesn't cook as long, it also doesn't, it doesn't fissure. You know how chicken, after the moisture starts coming out, it'll fissure, it'll pull apart, then the oil can penetrate the product. So it doesn't. And when you get it and you cut it, it's juicy. I mean, the juice that you see, it's not grease coming out. It's actually the moisture of the product. So it's faster. It's healthier for you. We cook with rice oil, so the molecules are different. It's actually healthier for you. And it's all our chicken we do that way. Our fries, anything that we actually what we call fry, we broast, and it's just a tastier product. It's something like, especially when you cook it and you set it out there, it's going to be different than any other place that you go that has that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's fun and interesting.
Yep.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
now I know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's on your menu.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's also, like I said, it's the whole process. It's marinating it, and it's lightly dusted, like our chicken is lightly dusted. It's not double dipped, but we lightly dust it, so it's not a lot of breading that you're getting, but it's different than regular fried foods.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so we all have to go and try that now.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah, okay.
we have 3 new sandwiches that we have on there. We're known for our roasted chicken sandwiches. Really, it's very big. It's hanging off the bun. The commercials, it used to be "Where the beef," and this one here is "Where's the bun" on what we're doing, because you can't see the bun on it. But we have the new ranch it's our green chili ranch dressing over the chicken breast with a bacon, and then we have the Thai and Swiss chicken sandwich, and then a regular roasted sandwich and roasted tenders. But they're really good. You'll love them when you come in.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, something new to have, right?
Yes, yes. And
Very good.
even in our in the rooster pie, which is like a shepherd's pie, but it's done with cream gravy instead of brown, and chicken, we use roasted chicken in
Mm.
that. So we roast the chicken, then we chop it up, and then we grill it with the vegetables, and we put it in the container and put the potato cap over it. And so you're going to taste that in that also.
Wow. Oh, my mouth is watering. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know what? We
What's
haven't
that?
talked about your atmosphere, and I really
Okay.
love your atmosphere.
Well, it's a country atmosphere. We have, over many years, even the when I first bought the property, it was called Ropers, and the people who I bought it from, they had a lot of memorabilia type stuff, and I bought all that from them. And then I had a whole bunch, because I've been in this business for a long time. We have horses, and my son makes stirrups and makes the buckles and the bits and all that. And he goes to all the shows. And so I had all this country stuff that we had been collecting for years and years, and we have it everywhere. And then I have a lot of the stuff that we have in there actually comes from our customers. We have things, hey, I have this here that I've had for years, and it would look good in your restaurant, and I'll bring it in, and some old reins and old harnesses and the hanes that go on the draft horses, and we have them hanging up around the facility. Pictures. We have a lot of Native American art that's in there also. We've had some really wonderful customers that are Native American, and they come in and they brought us some pictures of their actual grandfathers, and they actually did the work for me. They put it in this beautiful frame, and we put it on the wall, and it's his family. So it's a place where people come, they can see their own heritage, and in New Mexico, because a lot of people don't realize it. All the outlying areas of New Mexico, very country. And a lot of people think, oh, you must be from Texas. I said, no, I've lived here my whole life. I'm New Mexican. But New Mexico has that same country out there, that, that cowboy um, culture in there. So, and we should try to show that in there. So when you come in, the whole place is that way. And then when you come in for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we decorate to the hilt. It's really trying to get you into feeling the emotion of Christmas and that giving feeling and feeling good. We have a
Well,
lot of customers. Go
and
ahead.
you decorate
Yeah.
even beyond that, because your
Yes.
servers are all in
Yes.
Christmas gear
Oh,
all the
yep.
time,
Yep.
T-shirts and
Yep.
hats and everything else. They're really fun. And then you have the fun competition, like whose hat is best. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
shirts
hmm
too. They did the funny
hmm
shirts and sweaters, and we do things
right.
like that. And then all the girls, they wear cowboy hats. We wear cowboy hats when we're in there. Um, like I said, there it's we want to give you the feel when you come in. You get the whole ambiance of that country feeling, that good old style country home, and that and I just want you to feel that type of atmosphere when you come in, right in the middle of Albuquerque. So
Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, you have a lot to do with horses, right? I mean,
yes,
you own a lot of horses. So
yeah,
you're not just a city a, a city
yeah,
boy
yeah,
wearing
yeah.
country
Right,
outfits,
right,
right?
right, right. I wouldn't call myself a cowboy, because I mean I know a lot of cowboys out there, and let me tell you, when they say cowboy up, they're talking. I mean, I can't ride a Bronco bull or that kind of stuff. All my horses are trained, and so, but I tell you, we muck out stalls, and we clean, and we do all that stuff. But yeah, we have all draft horses, and currently right now we have a few miniature horses that belong to a really good friend of mine, that owned actually our property that we're on right now, and she still has some of her horses here, and she's a champion breeder and shower of these little mini horses that they pull wagons. And but all our draft horses, I mean they pull wagons, and I'm now even taking care of Albuquerque Police Department horses also.
See, so you're a real cowboy. I'm sorry, that's as cowboy as it gets for me.
Well,
You
my whole
probably
family.
don't rustle cows
No,
necessarily, but
no,
yeah.
but these are 2,200 pound animals that it's just amazing. I tell you, working with horses, and uh, I don't mean this. Well, believe it or not, when you're working with animals like that, I've become
Mhm.
a better manager of people, because you learn about body language, and that's what it is. You got to see. I mean,
And
horses are so.
motivation,
Oh
right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I tell you, and horses are so incredible. They're so intuitive, and I mean, just think about this 2,200 pound animal that could just trample us, and they don't have to stay in that pen. If they could get out, but they trust us and believe us and do whatever we want to do. And so there, it's just amazing. It's been a wonderful experience working with our police department, and working with these animals, and all my horses that I've done before I ever got involved with taking care of the APD horses. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been great for my family. Lydia, she's got 6 kids, our kids, that are we have 4 girls and 2 boys, and they've been all involved in it, and I couldn't do it without them. And so they're becoming cowboys and cowgirls, and it's just amazing to see how they really help out and how good they are with these animals and how good they are. They help us in the restaurant and they help us at the base, and it's just been amazing. It's great for the whole family. And when you're doing good outside and you got that family feel when you come into the restaurant, it's easier to portray that same thing to our customers. So
Sure. And I do, I've seen the same servers in your restaurant, I think since
mhm,
the beginning, and
yeah.
they are wonderful. They really do take care of your guests like they are their own guests in their own
Oh
home. I
yes.
mean, they care. You can tell.
Yeah.
And nobody, nobody says, "Well, that's not my table," or anything else.
Right.
I mean, they all take
Right.
care of every single table that's in there. So
Oh,
I've always been impressed with them.
they're amazing. I'll tell you, I take good care of them, and especially through this weird time. I mean, we kept them all employed. Everything kept going forward, and it was if they needed something, I take care of them. So they're like family. I mean, they're sure they're our team member. I don't like to say staff, but our team members. But they're our family. I mean, we get along. We care about each other. And from the cooks, I mean, they're if we're really slammed in the front, our cooks will run out there. They'll be helping to expedite the food, and I mean they're so good at what they do with that huge menu. It's amazing what they can do, and they're good at it, and they really have a lot of pride in what they do. And at both locations, I mean, it's amazing. Right now, we're feeding so many extra troops, and my team there, even though we're shorthanded, they are doing so good at what they do, and they love what they do. Passion is our food is passion. Our passion is food. So
Very good. Well, I enjoyed this so much. I
thank
do
you.
want, if somebody wants to get a hold of you or the restaurant,
Uh-huh.
what's the best way to do that?
Well, our number there is 505 that's there at the restaurant, and you can definitely do that. You can also get me at rvick at Vick's Vittles, as a Vicks, V as in Victor, ITTLES.com. And that's my email that you can get me at.
Very good.
Um,
Can people order online?
yes, you can go to www.vicksvittles.com, and our menus there, and stories about the restaurant, and some of our horses are on the page. You can see that and what we've gone through. There's even pictures of us doing the deconstruction of the property around us and reconstruct it for part of Vick's Vittles, and we try to put a little bit of everything in there.
Nice. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and you don't take anything for granted, and I've seen you innovate many times. So
Yes,
good
thank you,
luck,
thank you.
and we'll certainly keep in touch.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carol. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank our generous sponsors, U.S. Foods, Cisco, New Mexico, Shamrock Foods, Heartland Payment Systems, the Food Industry Self-Insurance Fund, and Ben and Keith Foods for their sponsorship of NMRA and its programs. Visit nmrestaurants.org to learn more about our chef table sponsors and our association. Thanks for tuning in to New Mexico Restaurants Now. You can watch this and other episodes on the New Mexico Restaurants Now YouTube channel, and you could subscribe to the audio podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Bye now.